Hello guys and gals, Buffalo here. Welcome back to the range. Today we're going to talk about my Christmas present. I know it's mid-June, but I actually got this for Christmas last year, and I wanted to hang on to it for a little while and get some use out of it before I done a video on this machine. My wife bought this for me, by the way. This is not a sponsored video, or I didn't get the product for free for doing this video or anything like that. Just like 99% of the videos on my channel, I always let you guys know up front if I'm doing a video on something that was given to me. This certainly was not. It was given to me by my wife, I guess you could say that. So we can thank my wife for sponsoring this video. Anyway, I wanted to use it for a little while and make sure it was going to hold up and be a good machine before I done a video on it. Or a bad machine. If it would have turned out to be a flop, I would have also done a video on it. But I really like this machine. I'm going to go over some of the features on it and just give you a quick rundown on it. Then we'll set it up and throw a few clay targets with it and do a little shooting. So we'll start right here with the sticker on the side of this machine. Wheelybird 2.0 auto feed trap, 55 to 75 yard range, 50 clay capacity, heavy duty wheels, integrated cord storage. So we'll take a look at all that stuff. This is your wheels. It does have steel wheels. The tires are worry-free tires. They are spongy, but there's no air. You don't got to worry about airing them up. Of course, you've just got the two wheels on the front. On the back, you've got your handle. Just pick it up, then you can roll it around to wherever you want it. Once you do get it where you want it, it does come with this little rod here that you can drop down and stick it to the ground to keep it from walking around as you're throwing clays. Here's your main spring under here, and you can increase or decrease tension on that spring. Of course, if you tighten the knob down, you're going to increase tension on the spring, throw the clay out harder, and if you loosen this up, you're going to decrease tension and throw the clay out slower. This thing, I'm impressed with the build of this thing. A lot of steel in it. I wouldn't call it a heavy duty thrower, but it is. I would call it a medium duty thrower. It's about 50 pounds, and it's fairly heavy. A lot of steel in it. You can see the motor, the electric motor here, the gears and chain drive. The electric motor, of course, resets your throwing arm, and here's your throwing arm right here. Now this thing, this is not steel. This is just a piece of plastic pipe. And that's just a safety to show you the radius of that throwing arm, because you do not want to get in the way of that arm. That thing comes out of there hard enough, it could easily break bones. Here's your hopper. Again, that holds 50 targets, and it'll hold and throw the standard 108 millimeter targets or the international 110 millimeter targets. You'll need a 12 volt battery for a power source. Of course, you don't have to buy a dedicated battery. You can use a battery that you use for something else. I bought this battery from Amazon. This is a 35 amp hour deep cycle sealed lead acid battery. You don't need a battery this big to run this machine, but this one will run it easily all day long. That's why I say you could get away with a smaller battery. This, again, that's a 35 amp hour battery that I bought there. Comes with a foot switch on a 25 foot cord. That's your cord I was talking about, that it was talking about the integrated cord storage. You just wrap it around those hooks. Here's your pigtail. Just plugs into the pigtail on the machine if you want to run the foot pedal. It also comes with the remote control, and this is what I use. I hardly ever use a foot pedal. I have used it and it works fine, but I like this remote control because it gives me the freedom to set that trap up down range. I can set that trap up 50 or 70 yards down range and practice shooting those incoming targets, mimicking incoming ducks or doves or something like that. Can't do that with the 25 foot cord, and you definitely don't want somebody downrange running the machine for you while you're shooting that direction. So this makes it real handy. I can set that up downrange and use the remote to throw them back toward me. Now the first time you use this, you'll have to sync the remote with the receiver. Very easy to do. The instructions come with this thing. Super simple. This is also your delay. You can delay this up to 15 seconds from the time you push the button to the time it releases the clay, or you can turn it down to nothing and have it instant. And this thing will cycle in 1 3/4 seconds, so you can throw a target out of this machine every 1 3/4 second. That's fairly quick reset time. All right, so I'll set this up and just show you guys how I load it up and get it set up to throw. I'm going to be using the wireless remote, so I've got my receiver here. I'm going to go ahead and connect to the harness on the machine. Real simple to do. I've got magnets on my receiver. I think it comes with some hook and loop stuff, but I just like to be different sometimes. So I've got a magnet there. I've got a magnet on the back of my remote as well, so that when I get done, I can just throw my remote on there and I don't have to worry about losing it. So we're ready to hook our battery up. You don't want to hook your battery up until you've got everything else ready. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this stake goes through the handle to keep the thrower from walking around when that throwing arm is moving around. So we'll put the black on the negative, red on the positive. And what I like to do before I load this up, if my arm is out of position, it's not bad out of position right now, but if it's out of position, this toggle switch, the on off button, you can actually press down on it, it's spring loaded, and jog this arm around. I like to jog it around to where it's underneath the hopper. Now if you jog it too far, be prepared, because it's going to throw like that. So I'm just going to jog it to there. I'm going to put me some clays in here. This thing will hold 50. I think I've got 3, 6, 9, 10. I just got 10. With these clays, you want this capture device to be on the second clay. That's going to allow your bottom one to drop through. So we're ready to throw. I've got the delay turned down to 0. So should throw as soon as I hit the button. All right. It'll throw as soon as I hit the button if I've got it turned on. Remember the toggle switch I mentioned? We have to flip that up to turn the machine on. So now we're ready to go. I'm going to hit the button. That's a good 45-yard throw right there. And you can always adjust the angle. You've got 30 degrees of adjustment, and you can adjust the spring tension if you want more or less. I'll throw again. Nice smooth throw. And we'll throw one more. And this thing works well over 90% of the time. You will occasionally get a broken clay pigeon. Occasionally it'll fail to drop one, but it's very rare. This thing works really, really reliable. I just love this wireless remote. You can set the trap up however you want to, so long as you've got a safe place to do so and get to work. You don't have to have a 2 or 3 man team. It's just a nice, safe way to enjoy this by yourself. So I've got the trap set up over there. Going to see the target coming in. Going to be crossing from my right to my left. Got the 410 lever action, Henry. Let's give this a go. Get my remote back out. One more time here. That's a lot of fun. All right, this time they're going to be coming from left across my right here. And I said this is great for an individual to get out by himself with this remote, but you can still do this as a team. You can hand somebody else a remote and just yell pull like you would traditionally. I just like to get out here by myself sometimes and do a little practicing. So here we go. One more time. If I can find my remote, there it is. That's all there is to it. All right, so this time they're going to be coming right at me. Okay, let's try a couple from directly behind the thrower with them going straight away. Now you'd be better off using the foot pedal in this situation just because you'd be hands free and the cord will easily reach. It's a 25-foot cord, so you wouldn't have any problems with that. But I'm going to continue using the wireless remote. I do have a few seconds of delay dialed up so I can hit the remote and have time to put it in my pocket before it actually throws the bird. So let's give that a try. Bam. And one more. Nice. Okay, one thing I did want to mention is the limiter switch on these. They're set at the factory, but they can come out of adjustment. I had a problem with mine when I first put it together. I put 10 clays in the hopper, and when I hit the button, it just kept cycling, and it cycled through all 10 clays and just kept cycling. I had to unhook it from the battery. And what it was the limiter switch. So this cover has 4 screws in it. I've already removed them. It's got a Phillips head here, here, and then 2 on the bottom. And here's your limiter switch. There's 2 screws on the bottom of the limiter switch to adjust it, and it controls where this arm stops. And since the switch was out of adjustment, my arm wouldn't stop. The throwing arm would not stop. It just kept going around and around. So I had to adjust my limiter switch in so that the arm would stop where it was supposed to. So you may have, or you may or may not have that problem, but it's just something I wanted to mention. But if you do work on this, take this cover off, make sure you're not hooked to a battery, and make sure your arm is in the fully decocked position. You don't want this thing sitting in a cocked position while you're working on that switch. You may accidentally make it go. And I'm telling you, that thing, man, it could break your arm. If your head's down in there, you know, it could kill you. It's just, it hits that hard. So just something to keep in mind. And I did want to mention that my limiter switch was out of adjustment when I got mine out of the box. Easy fix, and it walks you through it in the owner's manual. Always follow your owner's manual. So this thing's just a lot of fun to have around. It's great to teach kids to shoot skeet or trap on. Great to stay tuned up for yourself during the off season when there's no hunting seasons in, but you still want to stay in tune. Just a great tool. And I know you can get those little hand throwers. I've got several of them. They have their place. I still use them, especially if you've got several friends over. They can throw the bird for you and you can shoot it. The throwers where you pull the string, I've got a couple of those. Those work great. But something like this just takes it to the next level, at least for me. Now these aren't cheap. This Wheelybird 2.0, it goes for about 400 bucks, and that's without the battery. But it goes for about 400 bucks. But in my opinion, you know, to me it's worth it. Well worth it. I think it's actually a really good value at that price. And you can get other things to go along with it too. You can get the wobbler that keeps it moving, so you get a different angle of clay target every time you throw one. It's just it's something that you can add things to and kind of grow with. I'll have this thing linked in the description through my affiliate Amazon link. Now, if you do buy through that link, it does kick a few cents back to the channel. It's not much, but it's just another way that I can help keep the overhead of this channel paid for. As you guys know, if you run a shooting channel where you actually shoot, then the overhead is tremendous, especially now. Everything's just gone up crazy. It's just another way to help keep costs down if you buy through that link. I'll also have this battery linked. This is a great battery. Like I say, probably don't even need one this big, but it's the one I have experience with, so it's the one I'm going to link in the description. But that's all I've got. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk at you again soon.